I said good day. How are we, gentlemen, this evening? Mikey Hers joining us. Every once in a great while, we can get Mike on the show, and tonight's one of those once in a blue moon kind of things. So I don't know. Maybe it is a blue moon. I don't think it is. But Mikey, glad to have you aboard, man. How are you?
Thanks, man. Yeah, I shamelessly weasel myself into these things every time. Like I see your guys' podcast, I'm like, there's Stan, there's Ryan. Three. Maybe they have room and feel a little chatty. I shamelessly weasel myself into these things, but it's always great fun being on with you guys. So, I mean, anytime I have a chance, it's a real pleasure for me.
Always our pleasure, my friend, to have you on board. We love what you bring to the program. Your spirit animal is right underneath you. Hi, Ryan. What's that, Stan?
Where he should be.
Yeah.
Hey! I am a power bottom, so that actually makes a lot of sense.
We're going to dive right. Not even a minute into the pod. We're going to dive right into this.
Stan, Ryan will only have sex missionary so that he can look up and make eye contact. Anyway, how are you, Ryan?
Mike's got some nice eyes. I'm good. Things are good. I mean, I'm sure we'll dive into a few things, but I'm gonna get my beer of the week out of the way just because it kind of explains how I'm feeling today. And my beer of the week is T-shirt cannon, which this is a little bit of an American thing. Brewery is Lone Pine Brewery in Portland, Maine. T-shirt cannon. I don't know if Stan, you're familiar with what a T-shirt cannon is, but at halftime,
is it like a fucking howitzer thing, and you fire T-shirts at the crowd?
Yeah, halftime they do it.
What sport is it though?
I do it basketball. I do hockey. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if they do baseball. No, they do baseball too. But yeah, I mean, T-shirt cannons are great, but 9 times out of 10, you don't fucking catch anything. So it's kind of how I feel. Like, so Stuttgart had their first friendly today against FSB Hallenbach, 6th-tier Bundesliga. But hey, 10-1, baby, 10-1. T-shirt cannon, like, yeah, it's great. Back 10-1, 6th-tier Bundesliga. We'll get into the Guendouzi thing. But yeah, to me, I watched the Euros today, and Italy beat Spain. To me, in my opinion, less of the two evils. I don't like either team, but I will cry the next time Spain gets into any kind of big major tournament final. So a lot of good things, but I wouldn't say great things. So I'm good, but maybe not great. And yes, we'll dive into Guendouzi. We'll probably dive into the Gabriel injury. Yeah, good, not great. T-shirt cannon, baby. T-shirt cannon.
T-shirt cannon.
Cheers, boys.
Stan, after that, I don't know how you follow that. Maybe point out. Speaking of T-shirt cannons,
I was going to say this is actually quite a good segue because speaking of T-shirts, a package turned up on my doorstep about a week ago from Tijuana, and it was some merchandise from our old friend, the Arsenal Luchador, and this is what he sent me.
That's awesome. Beautiful. That is absolutely tremendous. Beautiful. Man. I need. Listen, you've got that connection, so you got to reach out to the Luchador because I want a T-shirt.
Mucho pesos for these, my friend. Mucho pesos.
That's all right. Listen, I'll make it happen, man. You know what? I'll talk to Vince across the pond, and I'll get him to pony up for us. So,
I just want to say thanks to the Arsenal Luchador for sending that over. And other than that, mate, still being run ragged at work. even though I've just had 4 days off, and the sun is still shining. So,
and you do actually have a shirt on tonight, as opposed to last week when you were sitting outside, like you were melting.
Yeah,
like it was so hot up there, like we could see you melting.
Yeah, it was a hot one. It was the hottest weather we've had here in about 110 years, apparently, in Vancouver.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, I mean it was hot at this time last week, then it cooled off, and now it's just back up to being miserable again. So, but. Anyway, I would be remiss if I didn't play a little jingle here at the beginning of the show, so hang tight, fellas. Wiki.
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
That's it. That's the important stuff out of the way. So we got that done. So Ryan, I'm going to kick it over to you because this is actually your idea. We weren't going to go tonight, and then you were like chomping at the bit here. So I'm going to kind of turn it over to you and let you just have your way with this Matteo Guendouzi business, because that's like there's far more important news out there making the rumors. It's not news, but you're like a boner in sweatpants with Matteo Guendouzi going to Olympique Marseille right now. So the floor is yours.
Wait. I have a boner because he's going to Marseille?
No, I don't know. Really
Maybe?
what I meant
Maybe
there.
not?
Maybe? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, stand
Let's
up
not
and show
rule it
the world.
out.
Why not?
I think Ryan would have a boner if he was staying, but that's just what I think. So.
Thank you, Stan.
I think. Hang on. I think Ryan probably just has he just
Just
has
has a boner.
It's just a boner in
These days.
perpetuity.
Well,
He's very healthy like that.
To be fair,
Yeah.
To be fair, Brighton announced they're signing. I don't even fucking know his last name.
That midfielder.
Yeah,
And Weapon?
and I retweeted it, and my hashtag, and it's very true. Boner for Basuma, because that's the train I'm riding. So I'm gonna be boner for Basuma all summer long. But don't worry, if it's continuous for more than a couple days, I'll call a doctor. But yeah, so the Guendouzi thing is very interesting. So I've been reading Twitter, and because that's just so much fun to do, and communicating with people on Twitter. It's always great and not toxic or anything. And the whole Guendouzi thing is very interesting. Again, yeah, I mean, I feel like I talk about, and you could probably talk about this with almost any player in the Arsenal squad, but Matteo Guendouzi is a very divisive figure in the team. You know, people love him, people hate him, people are excited that he's going, people thinks that Arteta needs to be sacked because Guendouzi's leaving. Took it all in, and let me just put it here. I'm a huge Guendouzi fan. I think he is a great player. I think he's a great midfielder for us. He could do really good things for us, and I think he is. He's really good at his shithousery, and he's a player that when the chips are down, he's willing to just muster up all of his energy and just put his body on the line, do whatever he has to do to get his team, the victory. And we've seen that, with Villa. I think it was 2 years ago when I think it was AMN got sent off. I don't know who got sent off, but we weren't playing really well, and Guendouzi probably had his best game for us. And we ended up getting, I think, a point out of that. So, yeah, I'm a big Guendouzi guy. But with the news coming, and I'm also curious to what you guys think, but with the news coming in, I personally am actually happy that he's leaving. I think that, just based on everything going on, behind the scenes that we don't know about, and I know that there's a lot that we don't know about, but I think I think the writing was on the wall for a few seasons now, and people can blame Arteta, but my whole thing was a big turning point for me in Guendouzi was his transfer to Hertha Berlin, and it started off really well. Scored a couple goals. People loved him. And then, they fired their manager, and they got a new manager, and all hell kind of broke loose, and he was caught fighting with one of their better players, Cunha, in the locker room. He fought with other players too. He fought with the manager. And then I think to myself, so maybe this isn't Arteta. Maybe this is the player. This is just what we have. This is just the kind of guy he is. He needs to grow up. He won't grow up. Even playing for such a big, prestigious club as Arsenal, so you kind of just got to cash in and just let the I guess the ball fall where it may. But seeing people kind of and again, I haven't really been too into Arsenal lately. But I still stand by. I'm not really Arteta in and not really Arteta out. I'm kind of just indifferent. I'm Arsenal in. So. With the Guendouzi thing, I wanted to blame Arteta. I really wanted to see him succeed. I think he's a perfect player for us. We need someone that's going to lead this team. We need someone that's kind of got a bit of shithousery in him. but everywhere he goes, he just creates havoc and chaos in his own dressing room. So, to say something that I know you didn't coin this, Tanner, but I know you say this a lot, but we cut our nose off to spite our face. And I don't really think Guendouzi was even our nose. I think Guendouzi might have been an earlobe. I think he was. Yeah, I like the shirt too. I think he was. I think he was on our face. I think he was something that could have helped us, but I don't want his toxicity. That is the Twitter universe, infecting our dressing room. And I think Arteta made the right decision. He made the right move. People thought it was early that he just kind of axed him out, but it was the right thing to do. And I don't know. I keep hearing, and I should have read the article, but I didn't. Of if it's an obligation or not. From what I gathered, that it's an obligation if he plays a certain amount of games. So that's going to be interesting to see if that's true. But yeah, I'm very curious as to what you guys think about Guendouzi, because for me, someone who he was one of my favorite players. I was contemplating getting a Guendouzi kit, and I think he was a perfect Arsenal player, and I really wanted to see him succeed. And that was, for me, one of Arteta's biggest points with me, is I really wanted Guendouzi to succeed, and I think kind of casting him off was not the right move. But now looking back, and I go, all right, Arteta, I see you ahead of the game. So I'm very curious to what you guys think about the whole situation.
Mike?
Yeah, so Ryan and I are very much in the minority when it comes to rating Guendo, it seems, in wanting Guendo to succeed and the Arsenal, because I as well kept on kind of touting people in my other group saying, hey, it's Guendo season. You guys can't do anything about it. When he hadn't left the club, and then the news broke that, he had got injury, and I'm like, that's it, gentlemen. I go, Arteta's going to see him with those puppy eyes, recovering, and he's going to fall in love all over and start playing him, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. So similar to Ryan, I really rated it when he came in. He just has a certain personality on the field. He grabs the ball, and his first instinct is always to turn and drive forward, which is something, we could talk about our midfield that it seems to be lacking right now. We have the reputation of kind of doing the sideways, backwards type of thing. So, excuse me. It's a bittersweet thing, because I fully understand that he needs to be moved on, because he hasn't, matured yet. So he does have that issue with him, but I do believe there's a footballer in there, and I'm kind of stubborn enough to think that, under Sampaoli, who is a very rigid, very strict type of manager, I think, it might be the strong hand that Guendo needs. So the ball's in his court. He has tons of talent. He needs to hone his personality and learn to get along with other people. So I still think that Guendouzi will end up leaving Marseille at a pretty decent figure in 2 to 3 years. And I really hope he gets his shit together, because otherwise he's going to fall into a very long list of players with great talent that just did nothing with a career. And we're talking about Italy today, and I was thinking about 2 Italians that have loads of talent. These are 10 years ago or so. We had Cassano and Balotelli, 2 Italian forwards that just bags of talent, but everywhere they went, they managed to get into trouble. So hopefully for him, for his own sake and his own career, he gets his shit together. He did just have a child, and I know that, personally, I could say this for firsthand, that having a kid really kind of gives you a swift kick in the ass, and you start looking at things differently. So that might be it for him. So we don't know. I do stand by, and I do sympathize with him in the sense that I'm a big believer that at 22, he's still very young. And I believe that a 22-year-old should be allowed to an extent to make certain mistakes. As I like to say, that I'm not a rich footballer, and I'm pretty sure I was a dipshit when I was 22. So it's difficult for me to sit back and say, hey, you need to act like a perfect role model, because everybody's upbringing is very different. I mean, we look at Saka, obviously you see the home he was raised in, and you see as an example kid, but not everybody had the same background. So bittersweet to say the very least. He's off to Marseille. And obviously Saliba's a big fan of him, so he had to go follow him. Wink, wink.
I also someone said in the chat. I didn't know Saliba and Guendouzi were good friends. I mean, it makes sense now that like I kind of put the pieces together in my head, but I was like, I really didn't know that. But the one thing I will say really quick was if he doesn't succeed at Marseille with Sampaoli, to me, I think this is it. This is his last straw. You know, Marseille is known for housing the rougher players, the Ribéry's, the Nazaris, the poor attitude players. So if he can't succeed here, I really can't. I don't see a way out for him. And that's again.
Well,
that's
he's gonna find himself in Turkey or Azerbaijan or something like that.
The one thing I heard, I wish I could give him credit. It was a French journalist that was on with Tom Canton podcast where he did say that within France, the France setup, he's still captain of the U21 France international team. And in France, they still think very highly of him. So literally, ball is in his court. He just needs to mature up a little bit for sure.
Stan, before I get your take, I want to bring Glenn in here real quick just to say hello.
Hello. At some point, I went from being a cool guy to Grandpa Simpson. I was in the shower, and I said, "Hey Siri, what's today's day?" It said Tuesday. Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Holy fuck!" And I realized, you know, because I wanted to prove it to you too. This is a picture of me in the shower. I don't know if you can see it out of the shower. That's me over there. Anyway, if somebody's watching this and replaying, you pause it, you can probably see my ass. So here's the deal. Okay, I'm sorry, Mike. Hello. I'm sorry to embarrass you. I mean,
no.
I saw you turning your head like I don't want to see that old guy's ass.
No, all right, it's not the first one I see today. Go on, Glenn.
Sorry.
So right, throw it to Stan, and I apologize for being late.
No worries. No worries at all. Stan, thoughts on Guendouzi headed to Marseille? I didn't see any of the details like Ryan had mentioned on I know it's an obligation to buy. But I didn't see any stipulations, games played or anything like that. So looks like he's off to Marseille. Thoughts?
My thoughts on Guendouzi going to Marseille. I think the best way I can put it is I'd probably give him the old Thanos finger, which is.
Oh my God! Okay.
Oh my God!
I think Guendouzi. Sorry, I've just killed half of the universe there. I've always thought Guendouzi was overrated. Personally, you know, there might be a footballer in there. I thought I just thought he was a bit of a. I was in the camp that thought it was a bit of a headless chicken. You know, really positionally unaware. And then if you put into that as well the behaviour side of it, which you've heard all of the stories now, there's no point in digging them all up, but it's from nearly a host of all of the clubs that he's been to. There's been an issue with his temperament and his attitude. We've turned a very small profit on him, and it's going to be one of those. It's kind of like, you know, let's sit back now and see who was right and who was wrong in about 5 years' time as he progresses. But I kind of think that he's going to be one of those. He's going to be one of those players like Balotelli. He's going to be a journeyman footballer who will probably, you know, there'll be a manager out there who'll think, I'll take the gamble on him. You know, I can iron him out, and then it will fail. It will probably start good, and then it will fail, and then he'll move on to the next place. And he'll probably have the talent. Like you could see that Balotelli has talent, but where's Balotelli playing now? I got a feeling.
Is Balotelli playing now?
He is, but he's playing somewhere like, and I think it's like the third division in Italy or something like that. Let's see what trajectory that Guendouzi takes. But if I was going to bet a fiver on it, I'd say that he's probably going to end up in, you know, he's going to end up like a Balotelli kind of a guy, being moved around a lot, not settling.
I still think I see a player in Guendouzi. I would have liked to see him for one more year, but hey, screw it. He's a project, and right now I want to win. So if he's leaving, he's leaving. Totally. I'm not like Stan. I think there might be a player in there, but whatever.
I wish I could. This is totally off the subject. I just happened to look over, and my one dog is laying in bed, and eyes are closed, but she's showing her teeth. She's like, but she's sleeping. Like her lip is curled up. I wish I could show you. It is the funniest and cutest thing you'd ever see in your life. Anyway, just real quick, if I may offer my thoughts on Guendouzi. There's a player in there. You can see the ability, and you can see, I think, the talent. But it's all up here for him, right? And just like I agree with everything that Stan said, he's Balotelli. It's all up here. If he can reel this part of it in, he'll be a player for someone. I don't think he fits Mikel Arteta's system at all. I don't think he has it. With it all being up here, this is where he's lacking it, ironically enough, for Mikel Arteta's system. He doesn't have the footballing IQ right now to fit in. And like Stan said, turn the small profit on him and move on. I will not look back. If he leaves for big money in 2 to 3 years, if he leaves for 30, 40, even 50 million, I will not look back on this move and say, see what we missed out on? Oh, we should have. I think the writing is on the wall for him. With Arteta being the manager in place right now, I don't see how he Guendouzi, that is. I just don't see how he gets a shirt, because I just don't think he fits the system. Glenn, it looked like you wanted to jump in there on something.
I just wanted to ask, does anybody know what Guendouzi did to make Arteta so pissed off at him? I'm just wondering, because
it was,
if Xhaka can tell the fans to fuck off, we can have 3 straight games of red cards and nobody gets in trouble for that. I'd like to know what Guendouzi did to get in his shithouse. Does anybody know?
I think it was a lot of
question. That's my only question as he walks out the door.
I think it was a lot of little things, but majorly the whole what the fuck's his name? The forward for Brighton, Neil Impot. I can't even say his last name.
Mopay.
Yeah. He kind of was talking about his wages, and then when Arteta was like talking to him and like, and he apparently told Arteta to fuck off. And I think it was just.
You get a fight with Eddie Nketiah when I was in Dubai as well, right?
I think that
in my mind.
I think it was a lot of little things. I think just the petulance, the brattiness, and I think telling Arteta to fuck off is kind of not good, and that was his last game for us, was the Brighton game. So
I remember seeing this from a photograph. I don't know where the team were going, but they were walking down like this long set of steps, which had like a big rail in the middle, and everybody's walking down the steps, but Guendouzi's sliding down the banister. Do you know what I mean? That tells you all you kind of need to know, right? It's just like, it's clueless. Do you know what I mean? It's just like,
it's one thing that, to have the fun, and he was a bit of that sort of clown character, but he couldn't reel the immaturity in. That's just my take on it. And the only thing that really the Mopay thing, I remember when it happened, and we were all like, I think we were split. I'm like, this is great that he's doing it after but do it during the match. Like, make the statement. Then
I think the problem was that incident. It carried over into the dressing room, carried over into his conversation with us, right? Because I'm sure Arteta doesn't appreciate a player talking about his wages. Like, that's not really trash. Like, it's not really banter. That's just, I don't know. I don't really like it. It's really cringy. And I think Guendouzi, I'm not apologizing for that. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. Sorry.
So I know that was it. That was
before the semi-final. He posted a picture of him, looking out panoramic view, didn't he, of the sea and that from his holiday accommodation. He didn't he didn't cheer the lads on or anything. And I think a lot of people got a bit pissed off with, he done it on that particular day.
Obviously, he's like a 21-year-old like I was. I was a complete and utter dick.
I was going to say, Mike.
Yeah, but you got to remember that these guys should have been raised through, football academies and that, and then there must be discipline all along the way. They're not just running around down the park and then getting called up by Arsenal. And they're like, they
all of a sudden flip the switch.
They must have an idea, and surely, when the way that it ended sour with Guendouzi and being shipped off out on loan, surely as a young man, at some point when you're away, do you not sit down and you think to yourself, shit, have I just ruined it with a club like Arsenal? Maybe I need to sort myself out here. I need to pull my socks up. I'm going to do really good at this team. Hopefully reports will go back. But no, the manager at the team that he went on loan with, again, there was sort of like bad reports about him and his attitude and the way that he was. So, when's he going to learn?
Okay, I'm bored. I'm bored of defending him because
it's everywhere. It was the PSG academy. It was where did he come from? Laurent. It was Arsenal. It was Hertha Berlin. It's literally everywhere. So it's like you think as a player, and like that was a great example. It's like you don't just get out of the park and like play for Arsenal. Like you go through the academy. Like you get discipline. You would think after maybe 1 or 2 sit downs, he would be like, yeah, I'm kind of an asshole. Like And then you get a chance for a big club like Arsenal. Like you would think like maybe like, all right, like I should probably do something about this, because even if I don't want to play with Arsenal anymore, I want to play good enough to where I can go to a good team and go to where I want to go. Because if he's burning all these bridges, soon enough he's not really going to choose where he wants to go, and he's gonna be flat on his face.
At this point, as I say, it's once is an accident, twice is a trend, and it's clearly more than twice at this point. So what does that tell you? It's habit at this point.
Also, for all the fact checkers out there, Balotelli plays for AC Monza, second tier Serie B. So second tier.
Only
that would just be Serie.
That would just be
and he's 30.
That's crazy. He's been around for so long. What a sad decline.
I'll tell a quick story about Balotelli if I remember, but I brought Darren in here. Darren, real quick. So first of all, how are you, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for the invite.
Of course, man. Of course. So real quick, give us any thoughts on Matteo Guendouzi leaving the club?
I was surprised he didn't leave sooner, to be honest. Like it's like he was just hanging around. It's like, why is he here? Why? It's like just go, just go already.
Yeah.
Like,
so you had a chance to tour the Emirates and see everything for the first time, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I didn't get in August. I'm doing the stadium tour because I couldn't do it this time because of the whole COVID thing was still.
Yeah.
But I managed to just go up to the stadium. I went to Highbury, and the first bit I went to was Highbury, and this guy sounds stupid to many people, but to me it was just like I literally just burst into tears when I got there. It's like, because I've never been there before in my life, and the first time I was supposed to go was when I was a kid, but things got in the way, things happened, and I never went. But just touching the Highbury doors was just like woomph.
Don't apologize for getting emotional.
Yeah.
Whenever I can afford to get on a plane and go to London, I'm going to cry coming down the runway. So don't apologize.
Yeah, Glenzie, you need that clap when the plane lands. He's one of those guys.
Good job. Yeah.
You did your job. Good job.
I cry when I leave London, but they're tears of joy. But I'm from Peckham, right? It's not really the place you go to for a little holiday.
I mean, Ryan just cries all the time for no good reason, so it's fine.
Very true.
He looks at himself in the mirror and he starts to bawl.
Oh yeah, the mirror cracks. So obviously, tears.
So you got to see Highbury. Did you get to go inside at all? Like right inside?
Yeah, it was really nice. I was sort of a bit where I thought, should I go in? Because I'm thinking it's people's homes. I'm thinking I don't walk in there going, oh, can I have a look around and think, that's somebody's house I'm walking into.
Just walk up, knock on the door,
Like, hi. But no, it's like, because I've always seen it on TV, I've seen pictures of it, and videos on YouTube. It's like to see it in person. I know obviously it's all changed, it's not the field. But they let me go in, and I touched the statue in front of me. And it was just a really weird feeling. It was like a feeling I've never felt before. It's like legends have walked through this door. And I'm thinking, there's me in tracksuit bottoms, hoodie. It just felt odd, but it's just like, it was a nice feeling. I had a photo taken and people in there were nice enough to take a photo with me. I was trying to sneak around the back to see if I can go around the back of it, but I was like, there were people like looking, I was like, I was slowly walking. I was like, yep.
Yeah, the next time you get up there, just if you go back into Highbury, just walk around, knock on somebody's door, see if they give you a snack or something.
Yeah. I'll say,
we got to do, Darren, right? Is wear a high-vis jacket, a hard hat, carry a clipboard, knock on the door, and just say, all right, love, here to read your meter.
I'll do that
Have a
next
little
time.
look around and off you go.
Yeah. Have a look around. See, you
If I
know,
just
what,
always get a empty cardboard box and says every time to delivery person, I'm lost. All of a sudden.
Speaking of I mean, I don't know, Ian. I feel like we all should give you a round of applause for this. That's fantastic. I hope everything is well for you, and this is not like a rare occasion for you that you did a poo. But so you got the Highbury, so you did the Highbury thing as much as you could. You got over to the Emirates, but you say you couldn't go in. You couldn't do the stadium tour, which is unfortunate.
But I didn't realize how far I had to walk from Highbury to Emirates. I thought, it's just literally around the corner. It's like, nope. It's like,
it's a few blocks, yeah.
For you, it's like a hill like that. I was like, oh, okay.
You walked up. I know where you walked up the steps, yeah.
Yeah. But like when you sort of look down at a particular view, you can see the Emirates. I was like, wow. And it was like a slow walk. I wasn't running. I wasn't rushing it. I was just slowly walking towards it. It was like, it was just it was like a dream. It's like I was asleep. I was a dream, like just walking down towards it. Again, got emotional. People would walking past me, like, "What the hell is he? What's the matter with him?" Do you know what I mean? But as soon as I got there, you had like the flags on the side and whatever. It was like the building itself was just standing in front of me, and I went. The first bit I walked up to was the number 2, where Lee Dixon was standing. I was like,
"Oh yeah, yep, I know that for a fact."
Yeah, I thought that was the first bit I was going to go to. And it's like going to statue bits, and I mean, I was there for 4 days. I literally went every single day.
Oh, sorry, you actually went home. I thought you went beyond there. You stood there for 4 days.
I could have done.
Yeah, just stand there. You know, people walk by you at night. You're just sitting with a little campfire, chilling. Don't mind me. Nothing to see here. Keep it moving.
Well, the thing is, because I went every day, I'm thinking, I saw the same people. I'm thinking, people are going to think I'm an absolute weirdo going for 4 days every time. It's like, no, do you know what? I'm just going to. You saw people jogging around the stadium. I'm thinking, I'm doing that next time.
I was just going to say, I promise you, it's not weird because I've been there, and I stay right around the corner. You know the building that you can see like with the purple roofs.
Yeah,
and it's like it's tiered almost.
Yeah.
So there are apartments, and there are a couple of Airbnbs in there. That's where I've stayed. So I'm right around the corner whenever I'm over there, and I walk up to the stadium, and shit, man, I see the same people walking their dogs around the stadium, jogging around, doing laps around it. The same people do that stuff all the time. That's nothing. They see you there, you're out for a walk. So
yeah. Well, next time I'm doing a jog around there.
There you go. I'd take 3 steps in a light jog, and I'd have a heart attack. So,
but I went to the mega store as well, like the downstairs in the mega store, and I spent a bit of a fortune there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, join the club, cowboy.
But I mean, I got like this. I'm happy with that.
Nice, so, nice. I see that Lee Dixon FIFA card over your shoulder there. I gotta tell you that I've seen ads for those things, man. Those things are pretty cool. So,
I had that made. I had that as a gift for me. So
nice.
But
so you had a good time then, yeah?
Again, that one's well.
Nice.
But yeah, it was good. It was a nice breakaway. It was nice doing something different and sort of visiting something that I've always wanted to do and it was it was a memorable one. It was for a special trip. So
yeah, that was your first time.
Yeah, first time ever. Yeah,
first time ever. Wow.
Well, to the Emirates anyway.
Okay. Yeah, man. It's something a little different here, the kind of like hearing these stories. And I know this was a big deal, to you to be able to go. We've obviously talked to you before and had you on the show before, and I know you were really looking forward to it. So when you put the message up in the chat, I'm like, let me bring him in here real quick, and we'll talk about how his experience was. Unfortunately, you didn't get to do the stadium tour, but you will be doing that, I hope, soon.
Well, in August I'll be doing that, but I'll also be doing a few stuff with the Arsenal Foundation as well. So I'll be doing a couple of bits with them. So
very cool. Yeah. The stadium tours is a good time if you can do a Legends tour with do a Legends tour if you can with Charlie George.
Yeah,
I've done the Legends tour with Charlie George before, and I'll tell you, he's a cool dude, man. I think you'd really enjoy that. So
I think it's just like just going in is just the main part for me. Just going in, just sort of just seeing the pitch itself.
yeah, it'll when you walk out that tunnel and it opens up like that and you see everything. Yeah, that feeling will overcome you again.
The good thing is as well, when I go down, I'm hoping we'll be able to that it'll be the Arsenal versus Chelsea game. And my best mates are Chelsea fans, so I'm kind of like just digging it in a bit to them.
Little bit of banter,
Yeah, can I just tell you a very quick Arsenal Stadium story? Back in the 90s, right, my mum bought me this Christmas present, and it was there used to be this company called Red Letter Days, and you could go Formula One driving, this and that. But it was for two people to go to Arsenal. I think this was still at Highbury, I think. And you had like a guest, I think it was going to be, and don't get jealous, Daz, Lee Dixon, and did like a tour of the stadium. It included as well like a training session, but I was like, I ain't fucking taking part. I'll watch if that's what that's all about. You know what I mean? And then there was like the museum tour as well with Lee Dixon, and then you have like a lunch. And there's a group of you. It's not just one on one. Do you know what I mean? There's a group, maybe, I don't know, 8 people in the group. And I was chuffed. I was like, this is probably the best present I have ever had. And I was living abroad at the time, living in Portugal or somewhere. But I had the thing, it was like for 2 people. And it was like a year went by and I still hadn't cashed it in. And it was like, if you don't cash it in within a year, you can extend it for an extra like 20 quid. So I got on the phone to my mum. Like I said, like, you got to extend it. When I come home next, I'm cashing in. So she extended it. I think about another year or so went by. I wrote my mum up. I'm like, listen, I'm coming back in a few weeks. Me and my mate Barry, we're going to go and do the old. She's like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, she went, oh, I didn't think you was interested. I've traded that in for like a selection of wine. I was like, yeah, okay. I really hope you enjoy your wine.
And you're still talking to your mum for that?
That's made up for it. I was gutted, mate. It was like one of the things I knew it was banked away, and at the right time, I was going to cash that.
Do you know what, Stan? At one point, I was a little bit jealous, but when you said that, I'm like, nah, I'm fine now.
Didn't get it. They did nothing. So,
man, oh man, how do you come back from that? Jesus.
How did my mum come back for that?
Wow.
I love her to bits. I forgot she'd probably be watching this.
It's got to be late, isn't she?
Mum, I hope you enjoyed the wine.
Anyway, good stuff, Darren. Listen, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it. Jump back in the comments there, and we're going to get into a little bit more transfer talk here. Probably talk a little England and Denmark in the semifinal tomorrow. So, but thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for sharing the story. And when you do the stadium tour and all that stuff, keep me posted because I'll bring you back on.
Well, if I'm down there, because I'm staying in the hotel, if you guys are on there, I'll do a live thing with you from the hotel itself.
Even better. I like where your head's at. Thanks, Darren. We'll talk soon, buddy.
Cheers, Darren.
Bye, Darren.
That's awesome. That's need a little bit of good news like that, and see the joy and get that happiness going again, around this club, because they are still capable of producing. I don't remember who the announcer was, but he might be cast in bronze, but still capable of producing golden moments. But the club can do that still. So Ben White, let's move on here real quick. We'll end things with a little England talk. I'm sure Glenn is chomping at the bit for that one. But
no. I know that
it's coming home. Oh, yeah.
I don't know if Mike is watching the Euros, but I know the only people that watch right now are me and Ryan. So
I actually have watched every match since last Tuesday.
I've watched every Italy match.
If it wasn't for my work and the dodgy hours, I'd be watching a lot more. But I believe you.
I mean, Christ almighty,
I'd love to be sat in my balcony watching the game.
It's got to be 9 a.m. for you.
Yeah,
most games here, it's either 9 in the morning, and obviously I'm just like getting into my day.
Yeah.
No, sometimes it's 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Sorry, sometimes it's 6 in the morning, and then like the one that was on today, that was lunchtime here, like
Noon,
12
yeah.
o'clock. And for me,
Yeah.
that's a real tricky time, right? So I'm getting into it now a little bit more. Obviously, England's journey is progressing, and I'm seeing that, tomorrow again, it's going to be like a 12 o'clock kickoff. And I was like, oh, surely I can move some things around. But no, my manager's put me in for some fucking online training thing. I'm like, what? Why tomorrow?
Of course.
So
Of course.
I made sure to learn this. It's sta tornando a casa, which means it's coming home in Italian, gentlemen. So be prepared.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm just hoping for some good matches.
I did a pre-tournament show and with two other English guys on Claude and the Bastards, and they made me pick first who I thought would win. And I said England, and you would have thought that I hit them in the head with a brick. And I said, why are you guys looking at me like that? And they said, both at the same time, Southgate. You got to throw some respect on the guy's name. Everybody wants Grealish to start, but you got to throw respect on Southgate. And I had plenty of criticism for him between Grealish and Sancho. And there were always several stories in big tournaments like this. England is one, Denmark is one, and Italy is one. And I would love to see England, Italy, as I'm sure most people would on this panel.
I mean, yeah, gun to my head if I had to pick somebody between, I'd pick England. But again,
Denmark's a great story. I would understand
for as we talked about last week, like how do you choose, and how do you, me not being European, how do I choose a European team to support? Well, and it's like Ryan, so it's like, well, I kind of that my favorite club is based in England, so that's I'll go with that.
That's the league. That's probably the league you watch the most of as well, right?
Exactly. So most of the I know all of the players on that team. I know who they are. I've seen them play before. I can't say the same about the German team. I can't say the same about the Spanish team, even the Italian team. I can't say those things. I know who the English guys are, and I'll despite Harry Kane, I'll root for England. So.
I have an easy time finding a story to find a team to root for. When Italy was about to play Belgium, I was watching the transfer guy, Fabrizio Romano, I think his name is. I might be the last name wrong. And he was so friggin' excited about Italy. And he looked like a little kid. And I'm like, you know what? I want Italy to win that game. And I rooted for them today also because, it's very simple to find stories. But it surprises me. All right. Let me ask you this, BG. If you were on a desert island and only could have one sports league to watch, what would it be?
Wow.
Oh, come on, Premier League. All right.
Wow.
He might say hockey. He might say hockey.
I don't know, Glenn. No, you know what? You know what? I would say Premier League because here's the thing. Is I love hockey. I grew up playing hockey. I played hockey for fucking hell, 15 years.
That's not me. I know I'm in New York. I know I'm in New York, but that's not me.
I actually would say the Premier League because I watch as many of those games as I can because I always have a rooting interest in all of those games because I look at every match outside of Arsenal and I say, okay, how does the outcome of this match affect Arsenal? It's a little harder at the beginning of the year because everything's so jumbled. But as you get into November, December, that's when I really start looking at the table and, how do things line up for Arsenal in this, Norwich City Watford match? Who do I need? Two promoted teams. But probably would say Premier League.
How hard is it to take that to a step where you're rooting for England? How many friends have you made in the UK over the last few years? How many times have you visited the UK, you bastard? I'm very jealous. How could you?
I don't want to answer that question because you'll be even more pissed than you're starting to sound right now.
It's a no-brainer for me. I freaking love the UK.
It's so funny. I can't make that connection. Like I get it. Like it's the best league in the world. I agree with that. I watch the Premier League more than any league in the world. Like I was like on it, hanging on every word you're saying, Glenn. And I agree with everything you said. I think my brain just can't make that connection. Like I can't root for England. And to be fair, too, I'm gonna just tell Mike and Lawrence I'm fucking very salty. I'm very upset. the Germans didn't win. Obviously, I won't deny that. I'm a wreck. It took a lot for me to watch England Ukraine, a lot, but I did. But the thing with Denmark is, and I've been beating this drum for a while on Twitter. I've said it a bunch of times. I think Kasper Schmeichel is the most underrated goalie in the world. I think, honestly, I can make an argument that he's the best goalie in the Premier League. Maybe one of the best in the world. Oblak is just really good. And Emmanuel Neuer is obviously always got a special place in my heart. But I think Kasper Schmeichel he just doesn't make mistakes. He's just, he is probably my favorite goalie in a minute. Like I'm a big Kasper
outside of the German.
No, I like him more than Neuer.
What'd you say, Stan?
GG Donnarumma.
I think Donnarumma's getting better. I think he's definitely, if he wins the Euros, he's definitely going to put his mark in the world as one of the better goalies. But I think Kasper Schmeichel is the most underrated goalie in the world. I'm not saying he's the best. He's the most underrated goalie. I think people don't give him a lot of credit.
Go ahead. I can't. Glenn,
were you goose-stepping, Glenn? What are you doing? What are you doing over there?
I want to hear what Mike has to say. If he's rooting for someone, if he's watching it.
Hang on. I just
turned into let's get a transfer for Kasper Schmeichel. I don't know what happened.
That would be amazing. I would pay more money than anybody would to get him in the club. I think he's just great. He's just a great player. He's a great teammate. But the one thing I will say about just Mike talk. I already forgot because Glenn always he interrupts me.
Mike just real quick. I just want everybody in the chat to know that we didn't bring Mike here so he could talk. We brought Mike here to
he's eye candy. He gets
exactly.
That's what I'm here. Yeah,
he keeps me involved.
Mike, just do me a favor. Sit there, smile, and every now and then just say Arteta. That's all we need.
Arteta.
I'm here to broker a deal with El Luchador for a Spanish version of this. So it's gonna be same old Arsenal in USA / Mexico, and so it's gonna be a Spanish version, Luchador and me.
I'll pass that along.
That's not bad.
Somehow or other, Stan, get your people in touch with the Luchadors people.
And he's hard to track down, man. That's the thing.
I know. I've tried to track him down. I can't find him.
He just pops up.
Just out of nowhere. All of a sudden, he's like the Undertaker coming up out of the ring.
Out of nowhere.
Just all of a sudden, it's just like he's there. He just appears like a specter.
So in the 90s, I had way more access to Serie A. And so naturally, in Serie A back in the 90s to like mid 2000s, they were like on top of the world. You could argue that the Italian league was the best league in the world around that time. They had a lot of the greatest superstars. Obviously Brazilian Ronaldo was playing there, et cetera, et cetera. And some of my favorite Italian players, I just grew up. And it always amazed me how easily they moved between big clubs. Like that was a thing that I never understood, where like, Pirlo would easily play for like Inter to Milan, now Juve, and they would just pass. So I never had an opportunity, or I never missed an opportunity to see great Italian players, because I one way or another, I'll see them. So because of that, since the 90s, like as far as like a World Cup happens, Mexico and the US are in it, and I know they're not going to win it, but I'm gonna root for them. And then once they get knocked out, I've always sat back and say, hopefully Italy wins. So 90s, I watched a ton of Serie A, probably more than the English league, to be honest with you guys. So because of that, I kind of just always floated towards Italy. So yeah, I've been a big Italy supporter for many, many years at this point in time. So that's what I've been watching. And when you guys asked me if I was actually watching the Euros, not every game. I'm literally just tuning in for the Italy games. That's kind of the most important thing. Not to say that at this point in time, quarterfinals, semifinals, I would chime in and watch, absolutely. But when it came to like group stages, I wasn't chiming in a whole lot more. So Italy for me, and then I had one more little bit of thing to say that I just completely forgot about, because I got
just say it's coming home. That's like the word. That's the flavor of the month. It's coming home. Just I don't know what that means. And if anybody,
tornando a casa, that's coming on in Italian. I learned that for a reason. Damn it! This is what I was gonna say. The one thing I really don't understand was while we're on the Euros debate, I don't understand the club versus country debate that some people can't root for England because there's like a Spurs player and something. You know, let me tell you, coming from a Mexican household, my dad liked, one team. I support another team in Mexico. We could not give a shit who's playing. Once you're wearing the Mexican national kit, we are going to back you. So I've never, that for me, seen what has been one of the weirdest things when I started chiming into like Twitter and getting in contact with Englishmen. Like, I'm hearing English people like, I can't support that lot. I don't get it. That's so weird for me. Like, even like Germany and Mexico played a World Cup or two ago, right? It's the one last time when Germany crashed out pretty bad. And I remember everybody was like, oh, I'm supporting Germany because Ozil. Me as a Mexico, fuck Ozil. I'm like, I don't care that he plays for Arsenal. I'm supporting Mexico right now. Arsenal doesn't play in the World Cup. So that whole concept I've never understood. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I don't know if anybody feels like that or feels weird. Go for it.
It's funny because we talked about this last show and I was of the opposite opinion as you. But what I will say is the big difference is I'm neutral for England. Like I'm not English. I don't like go out of my way to root for England. So like, if I see Harry Kane in the field, I'm not gonna root for him. Like if a Spurs player played for, to be fair, I don't like Chelsea. I go hard for Rudiger. I'm a big Rudiger fan. I think Rudiger is a great player. I think he's a very underrated defenseman. He's fast. He's a bully. He does the job. He does tend to make he makes mistakes every now and then in the 18, but who doesn't? We have David Luiz, or we had David Luiz. We still have Granit Xhaka though. Fucking get rid of him.
Let me stick on the, if I may, because there actually was a bit of news that came out. I think it was either yesterday or over the weekend, and it does involve Arsene Wenger. What is your take? Excuse me, I'm very sorry, Stan. I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Arsene Wenger said he would like to see the World Cup every 2 years. I'm curious as to what everybody's take on this is.
Before I answer that question, and just to dovetail back to what Mike was saying and what Danny put up, that Danny's comment as well. As much as obviously, I want England to win something, just so I can cross it off. Oh, I've seen them win an international thing. The fact, as I mentioned, that I've got this online training stuff tomorrow and I can't watch the England semi-final, I'm not pulling my hair out about it. If this was an Arsenal semi-final, training would have to wait. I'd be fine. Something would happen. There'd be a way, I would find a way to be able to watch that game. And talking about, the England thing as well, as much as I want England to kind of do well, we don't celebrate Harry Kane goals in this household.
Yeah,
we just don't. And even my missus knows that. Do you know what I mean? We don't. We go.
Kid can't even spell his own name.
But I want them to do well. But no, we don't celebrate Harry Kane goals in this household. But seeing the World Cup every 2 years. But then the Euros is every 2 years, right? That's the deal, right? You got like
every summer you'd have a major international competition.
And I am a little bit of a traditionalist. I'm like, why we've got to change something just for the sake of changing it. Do you know what I mean? It's like in some places now you can't say Happy Christmas. You got to say Happy Holidays or that's whatever. No, mate, it's fucking Happy Christmas. That's what I was brought up with, right? For the last 50 years. So I'm a little bit of a traditionalist in that way, and I'm used to the World Cup being every 4 years, and then the Euros coming round. So, but as I say, because I don't really sort of like hang my hat on international football. If they did change it to every 2 years, I wouldn't be writing angry letters off to FIFA or anything like that. I'd just be like,
before Ryan turns this into something involving Casper Schmeichel,
I was gonna bring him back up. That's kind of Glenn. We're like, ooh,
I know there's some kind of weird mind thing going. I like the Euros as much as the World Cup, so I think it's silly to have. Arsene Wenger can be correct. He said the away goals rule is terrible and they should get rid of it. I agreed with him there. I don't agree with him here.
Yeah, Mike.
I think Arsene Wenger is a FIFA employee, and it benefits FIFA to have a tournament every year for cash. But I think they're kind of ignoring what the professionals go through, and to have them play the calendar year throughout the league, and then the summer, and then the league. Example that we bring up a lot is on another podcast that I feature on is Alexis Sanchez. Look, we had peak Alexis Sanchez for 2-3 years, and it's something we've never seen at the Emirates since, pretty much, right? But he played himself into the freaking ground, because I forgot what happened with those Copa Americas, where they happened like 1 year after another year. So he was playing like, League, Copa America, League, Copa America, League, World Cup, or something. He just ran himself into the ground. So just thinking about player welfare, I know money's great, and I know that's what FIFA's focused on. And another thing is, it's kind of easy for them to say, hey, let's play every year, when every time a club says, can we get some monetary value for the player? If he gets injured, can we be compensated? And FIFA's like, no, he's your player, he's your problem. So I think it's very convenient and easy for FIFA to say, let's do a major tournament every single summer, but it's really neglecting player welfare above all. But even the clubs, they're a business, and you're telling that business, we're going to borrow your assets every single year, run them into the ground for a month, and then you could have them back.
Can I just say one thing I disagree with Mike on? He said that FIFA cares about the players. No, they don't. If they care,
I didn't say that. No, not at all.
No, he said they don't.
They're quite the opposite.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah. Because if they, I apologize. I'm still going to make my point, but I apologize to Mike. If FIFA cared about the players, they would raise it to 5 substitutions for these damn tournaments.
Yeah, totally.
Too many guys getting hurt. Too many guys getting.
So basically, then on their calendar, we'd be talking about every summer we'd have an international tournament, right? It would be the Euros 1 year, the next year World Cup. As I say, I'm a traditionalist.
The next year the Euros, and that following year, yeah.
But if they did that, as I say, I wouldn't. I'd be like, whatever, something to watch in the summer then.
Yeah, that is the one thing with this, is it is nice to have something to pay attention to in the summer, because right around this time, for any baseball fans, and Ryan, you can ask Megan about this. This is, as they say, and Glenn will agree with this, the dog days of summer, man, because there's just nothing. There's when the Euros are over this weekend, when the final is done, that's it for a month. Until Premier League kicks back up again. That's it for a month.
I was thinking about you, BG, because I'm watching the Mets more than I usually would. And I'm like, oh, my God, all he's got is the Pirates. Oh, that poor guy. So.
I don't want to go down this road. I'm not a Pirates fan. I'll put it this way. I want them to do well because I live here, and I would love to go watch actual meaningful baseball. But they're terrible. And that you talk about piss poor ownership. Yeah. Give me an hour to just do my own show and compare Bob Nutting, who owns the Pittsburgh Pirates, to Stan Kroenke. And
His last name's Nutting.
Yeah, that's right. and Nutting. I didn't hear anything you said after that. I didn't hear anything you said after Nutting.
After that, yeah. So they had T-shirts made up. So real quick story. The Pirates, 2013, 2014, 2015, made the playoffs. In 2014, they were the second best team in baseball, and they were 2 wins away from being the best team in baseball. The Cardinals were the best team, 101 wins. The Pirates had 99 wins. They were a damn good baseball team. The following year, they made the playoffs, and then they completely dismantled the team. The year after that, all of the fans had T-shirts made up that said, "Spend Nutting, win Nutting."
Sorry, I can hear what you're saying, even though you don't see my face.
No, I just, but anyway, yeah.
You said Nutting and I laughed again.
Sounds a bit like the Invincibles, right? You get to the highest peak and then you just fucking rip it all up.
Yep. I could make Stan Kroenke look like a saint, an absolute saint compared to the guy that owns the Pirates. Like, that's how bad the guy that owns the Pirates, like, they will not spend money on that base. Like, it just doesn't happen. So,
I I'm trying to figure out if Danny is trying to take the piss out of you, or is he generally got the Penguins mixed up with the Pirates.
So Danny, the Pirates are American
quite
baseball.
sure with Danny.
Yeah, the Penguins are ice hockey if you're being serious. But anyway, where did we leave off at? I kind of went off
Euros,
on there for a minute.
But I quickly.
Oh, I didn't get to you on the World Cup.
Before we talk about nutting, I remember I was, what was I think I was a junior in high school in 8th grade. I'll never forget. I was warming up. We had a game when we were playing Jericho High School. No, we weren't playing Jericho. I don't know who we were playing. Warming up, and I literally the 8th grade football team was practicing like 20 feet past our net. They're just doing like little warm up drills, little fucking tykes, and all of a sudden I hear, "Bulgina, get the fuck on the field!" And I'm like, I thought I was like, did I? What? And then one of my teammates who's younger, he's really good. He was younger than this. He goes, "Oh yeah, we have a kid in our grade. His name is John Bulgina." I'm like, that name is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, if anybody in the chat has a really cool fucking name. I also dated a girl. She had a friend. Her name was Ivana Mann. That was fantastic.
Oh my God!
That sounds like one of them birds you get in like a fucking James Bond film, like Miss Goodhead.
Yeah, her name's Ivana Mann.
No, that was not her real name. No parents.
No, it was. I met her. She's a very nice Asian lady. She's very nice to me. Yeah, her name's it's Man with two ends. Man with two ends.
That's like Juana Man.
All right, whatever. What were we talking about?
Anyways, the Euros. Okay, the Euros. Yeah. Before I jack off Casper Schmeichel.
No, on the World Cup thing.
I think
we're not
Anyways, no. So me and Mike are very connected with spirit animals for a reason. Mike's the smart one. He makes a lot of sense. I agree with him. I want a tournament every fucking year. I love the Euros. I love the World Cup. It's my favorite time of year. It's amazing. I take off work for games. I said this last week. I will watch North Macedonia, Ukraine. I'm all about it. I love it. I get goosebumps. I mean, I'll be honest with you about crying. I get teary-eyed every time I hear the German national anthem. I stand up like a weirdo and I stand there for the German national anthem. Even hearing other countries' national anthems, I get goosebumps. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. Now with my give it to me, I want it now. Give it to me. Give it to me. Another reason why it's so special is because it's every 4 years. Because it's summer events. It's like having sex. It's like having sex. You have it every day. It's great, but it's you're having sex every day. When you have it like once a week or once every couple of weeks, you get that something. It's like it's a shotgun blast. You're like, holy cow. But yeah, so I'm on both sides of the fence. I love it. It's the best time of the year for me. To an extent, I follow it almost more than the actual Premier League. I mean, maybe not more than Arsenal, but I follow it more than the actual Premier League itself. But sometimes waiting makes it better and makes it just the greatest spectacle on earth. And I don't know. So I'm very indifferent. I don't know how I feel about it. I would, if they did make it every 2 years, I would love it. But I do think part of that excitement, Christmas Day excitement, would kind of be lost a little bit because you're just getting a tournament every year. So you're just like, oh, okay, what else? What's going on? But yeah.
Yeah, the thing I agree with everything that Ryan said there. I love this tournament as much as the World Cup. And the thing I know you have to be motivated to want to see every game, but if you live in America, okay, I DVR games that I might have to be doing something with. I live in America. I'm not going to hear the fucking score. All right, so I can watch the game later. It's as simple as that. If you're motivated enough, you shouldn't not. There was a comment earlier, a few minutes ago, saying, "Oh, I'm going to miss the game tomorrow from Los Angeles or something." DVR it and don't go on social media, and you can watch the game.
See, the thing though, Glenn, over here in Canada, right, our provider is our sort of like Sky equivalent, which we pay cable for, is DAZN, whatever they fucking call it. I was saying it wrong. And they don't show any international.
Oh, wow.
So I can't even tape it, you know. So I've got to either avoid the scores if I really want to watch the game, and then try and find a link to download it. But it's so difficult. It's so difficult to not get the score. And sometimes, I mean, I started trying to do that with some games, and then it was like, especially, the England-Scotland game. I really wanted to see that, and I really wanted to get through my day at work without knowing the score and downloading it, because I'm English and Scottish, right? I really wanted to see it fresh. But then I found out it was 0-0, and I was like, thank fuck I didn't fucking win. Fucking hunting for a stream and sitting through it.
That is so. I can't believe freaking Canada does that to you. If 6 12-year-olds got it on an ice pond, they would televise that.
Oh,
Jesus.
wait, did you say 6 12-year-olds?
I don't know what the fuck I just said.
You know what? It's 6 12-year-olds, 12 6-year-olds. It doesn't matter, Glenn, because you're absolutely right. If they found a frozen pond somewhere and found a couple of sticks and a puck, that's going to be on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be on TV.
It's a game, eh?
So England, Denmark tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's noon out on the West Coast. That's 8 p.m. I believe, for those of you who are still awake with us across the pond. And by the way, thank you, Stan. We didn't shout out the chat tonight.
We got a lot of people popped in tonight, man. They've got a few of the older, some of our. Oh, fucking hell! We got a few. What's happening tonight? We've got a few podders tonight.
Yeah, right.
We've got a few podders in this tonight. Big up to Terry from Claude and the Bansters for stopping by.
Sir.
Hope you keep him well, my man. Also, we've got Magic Mike from the Gunners Pod, who's also come by to see what's going on. He reckons it's coming home. And we've also got Danny, the BFG from a Bergkamp Wonderland in the house as well. And it's got to be, and he's watching us on he's not watching us on a TV. It sounds like it's a fucking cinema. Was it 58
right.
TV? That's some big ass visuals right there. We've got a lot of regulars in as well. Popped in Ray Anderson, Lawrence Emmanuel, Stay Fresh, Rolls in there. Let's have a little bit of a scroll back. Scroll back.
Riddy Sarkar's up there.
Aaron Matey's in there. Jay's in there. Ian Matty. And Ian Smith, who remember Ian Smith, who informed us that recently he's just done a poo. So thanks for that, Ian. And thanks for everyone for stopping by and checking us out tonight. Oh, the Football Gerbils made an appearance. And has he got any hot news for us? Any hot transfer news? Because the Gerbils in the know, right?
Oh, that's a terrible name. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Don't worry, Glenn. We've all said this about the football.
Oh, okay.
I generally enjoy every time I'm on a pod with Glenn. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So, question: if everybody, I was going to say this before, but anybody that's saying it's coming home, if you want to get really upset and really mad, please listen to they interviewed Kasper Schmeichel and Højbjerg in a little press conference. I mean, who cares about Højbjerg? But they interviewed Schmeichel because I fucking love him so much. And they asked him, like, England's all about, saying it's coming home and all this. Like, what's it mean to you to deny it coming home? What's it mean to you to win? And he just goes, has it ever been home? When was the last time you won? And it was absolutely fantastic. And you guys need to watch it. And it's great. And it'll get all of you guys upset.
Why would I watch something that would piss me off?
But it's funny because Kasper Schmeichel is the man, and he's a savage, and I love him, and I want him in Arsenal colors, and that's why I like Leicester. I always root for Leicester. I love Vardy. He's probably a piece of shit off the field, but no Vardy, no party. And I love Kasper Schmeichel, so yeah, I'm a big Kasper Schmeichel guy.
All right, look, we're all different. I don't want to argue with you over taste. I mean, you say you cry when you hear the German national anthem. My mom is 100% German.
Yeah. I wouldn't say cry.
When I hear the German national anthem and 60,000 people singing, I get a little scared. All right, so that's all I'm saying. And my mom is 100% German, so I'm allowed to say that. I've been to Germany plenty of times when I was a little kid. They're my second team after England. Shut up. All of you, shut up.
Okay. Off the Euros.
I was going to have a really good segue.
You asked about the predictions. England 2-0. That's all.
Okay. I don't remember asking about predictions, but I like it.
Yeah, me either. I'm confused.
But I like. I love it. I think it. Oh, listen.
Oh,
we're
celebrities
getting all,
in the chat room
we
now.
are getting all the big hitters now, and just like what? Listen, like somebody give me the gong. Somebody give me the gong sound right now, because just like he's coming up from underneath the ring mat. There's the Arsenal. Boom.
Big hitter in the house.
Luchador, I want a shirt. Give me a shirt, Luchador. All right. Listen, put Luchador, put a shirt in a t-shirt cannon. I will catch it. I have the beer here. I still have it. I finished it. I have the t-shirt cannon. Give it to me. I want a tee.
Yeah.
Hook it up, Luchador. Hook it up.
Luchador, I need a t-shirt. Yeah, and a mask. I'll take a mask too. We'll do a show totally. Like, we'll all do a Luchador mask show one of these nights. It'll be tremendous. It'll be so much fun. Anyway, Ryan, what was the segue? I want to hear this.
So the segue was we're talking about Kasper Schmeichel.
No, we weren't talking about Kasper Schmeichel.
Oh, I thought we were.
No. Why?
Well,
who cares?
Well, that was my segue. All right, whatever. So
Are we going to talk about Arsenal or?
Yes. That was my segue.
Who knows who Ryan wants to talk
talking about
next.
Kasper Schmeichel. By the way, 2-1 Denmark. Anyways, Kasper Schmeichel, fantastic goalie. Whatever. Anyways, another podcast. But there's talks and there's sources that are saying Arthur Nkunku is going to take over Runnarsson's position in the depth chart, and he's going to make a serious run with the first team, and he's going to be. I guess right now he'd be our backup goalie, but I'm sure we're going to sign somebody. So he'd be probably our third choice, but he could be on the bench a lot of games. So, at him being 18 years old and being highly rated, yeah, it's true. It does take a lot of honor. But I have my ways. But yeah, I mean, being 18 years old as a goalie, that's like, you're like an infant. You're like just out of the womb. As goalies, they obviously play longer than a normal player. That would be fantastic. Penalties and Denmark. That would be.
The only good that will come out of that will be someone like Saka getting a fucking Pizza Hut contract. Pizza Hut commercial contract if he misses a penalty.
Wait, Colombia scored? I didn't know that. Ah, shit. My friend Matt is like across the way, and he's half Argentinian, and he's probably literally shitting bricks. So, team cocaine, baby, team cocaine.
Wow.
But anyways, Arthur.
I remember one World Cup fight. I was watching a game between Colombia and that. And my missus, bless her, she came in the room, like put something on the table, talked to the TV, and she said to me, "Won't the Colombian players get killed if they don't win?"
Wait, it's going straight to penalties.
My God.
I'm putting this on.
Oh, really? I thought they did overtime.
It says on my thing. It says penalty shootout. But anyways, okay, I'm talking Arsenal here. Let's not go crazy. But yes, so an 18-year-old coming to the academy as our goalie, like that's fucking huge. I've been touting his name for a while. I didn't think he would get this kind of, start this soon. His contract, I think, is running out next season, so I think they're re-signing him. I think he's going to agree to a contract, so that's good. But yeah, especially with our short season, if we can't pony up money for a backup goalie, if this is obviously all if Leno stays and we don't, whatever. I am all for an 18-year-old goalie out of our academy who's highly rated, and I've seen him play. He's good. Obviously, he needs more experience. But I don't know how you guys feel about it, but.
How I feel about it is we need a midfielder, and Odegaard's on now too. So I'm like, really, I don't know why we're talking about $50 million Ben White.
But that's my point, is the fact that like I think we could use this money for other things. Like we were linked with Awana, but yeah, granted it was for 9 million, 10 million, like that's nothing. But if we could add that 10 million to another transfer, that's big for us. And I'm excited. I'm a big fan of his. I've watched Nkunku for a while, a couple of years, and I think he is going to be a great goalie. And I think that we're in a transition period, and we're in a part in our club where we need a midfield. We even maybe need to even buy a forward. We need to buy a striker. So we need to buy a 10. There's still so many things going around, but I'm very excited. I'm happy to hear this. I don't know obviously how much he's gonna play. He'll probably play in cup games, but I'm excited because I think it's definitely a roll of the dice that we could afford, and it could pay off. And yeah, we could sign Awana for 10 million, but to me, if we sign Awana, that means Leno's going, and that means we're selling Leno. And I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know how much you guys watch the academy, but it's definitely, I think for us, it's a good thing in the fact that we're saving money in buying a number 2. Granted, we could have got Manny Ryan on a free, but it looks like he's going to Real Sociedad. Honestly, Magic Mike, I'm excited for that game too. I'm really pumped. I don't know what time the game's at, but I'm going to be all about it.
Ryan, I completely respect how you follow the academy, but I'm not in rebuilding mode right now. I want to be a top 4 contender mode right now. I don't want to think about these kids that aren't going to be helping us now.
But Glenn, that's my point. We're gonna use him, and we're gonna save money. We're gonna save money so we can buy a better midfielder, a better number 10. That's gonna put us in the top 10. I don't think Okonkwo is gonna make or break us as a top 4 club, but someone like an Odegaard, who we're not gonna get, but someone like an Awar, someone like a James Madison, that is gonna make or break our transfer window. That is gonna make break or break our top 4, aspirations. And it worries me a little bit that we're not really heavily linked with any number 10s. We're obviously gonna sign the guy from Anderlecht. We're gonna probably sign.
Bambi Lokonga.
No, I know he's a defensive midfielder. I'm just saying.
Bambi Lokonga, right?
I think his real name. I think is Bambi.
Albert Sambi Lokonga is his real name.
But we're gonna sign probably Ben White, which we'll get into, and how Gabriel's injury is gonna probably change things. But yeah, so I think this information, it's like, oh yeah, it's an academy guy. Who fucking cares? And I agree with you, Glenn. You look at it, you're like, yeah, all right, who gives a shit? But that's money that we're going to use.
Let me jump in here real quick. We had talked. No. Totally random question.
Columbia game on.
No, we're at about an hour and 17
anyone
minutes.
Anyone watching that Colombian game? Please let us know what's happening if it goes to penalties, because you've got 2 ex-Arsenal keepers in goal.
Yeah.
Speed up.
Little Dave, and we've got Martinez. I'd love to know how that turns out. So please let us know in the chat.
We're trying to figure out what goalkeeper Arsenal should buy back.
Yeah,
it's 1-1 in penalties right now.
Is everybody okay to continue for a little while?
Yeah.
Anybody need to duck out, or is everybody cool?
Unless Ryan's just going to answer everybody's question, then I'll just.
Yeah, right. He's just going to talk about Kasper Schmeichel the whole night.
Dude, you guys don't agree with me? You don't think he's the most underrated goalie in the fucking world?
I don't know, but can we save that for another? Can we save that for another night?
You're damn right we can.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Just had a bug land on my keyboard. That's fun. Yeah, I don't know where I was.
We were trying to figure out what you guys think is top need right now in the transfer market.
I know. I want to bring up Ben White real quick, and in light of the Gabriel knee issue, it's looking like. It's called Jumper's knee, and this is from Dr. Rajpal Brar on Twitter. He has been on a lot of Arsenal shows on YouTube talking about sports medicine. This guy knows what he's talking about. Update on Gabriel, who has withdrawn from Brazil's Olympic team. Knee tendinitis typically refers to patellar tendinitis or Jumper's knee. Knee swelling is quite vague, but in conjunction with the tendinitis sounds very much like an overuse issue. So it sounds like maybe just some rest, stay off it, take some ibuprofen, keep the swelling down, ice and heat, and 2 weeks he should be back into some training. I'm not upset that he's missing the Olympics.
This is Arsenal, so he'll be back in 3 months.
Yeah, right. I am not upset that he's missing the Olympics at all. I will watch the Olympics, but I'm not upset about that at all. But does this force Arsenal to now meet Brighton's valuation of 50 million? Mike?
I think they were well into that negotiation. Regardless, I don't think that it's a subject whether they're gonna try to go for him or not. I think it's gonna be 100%. Ryan, you were killing me.
Yeah,
At least
right.
in the private chat,
Seriously.
what happens? I think because they went after Ben White fairly early. I think it might have, other than like Lakonga and rumored for Onana, he might have been like the first official bid that we put in. Saliba, that whole meeting was like in and out, was like super fast for multiple reasons. I think that the CDM, the right center back position, for better or worse, I understand that most fans, including myself, would say center midfielder would be like option numero uno for this transfer window. For whatever reason, Arteta and Edu find extreme value in a center back. They saw Ben White, who I've the more I listen to, the more intrigued I am about a player. I don't agree with the idea that we need attack. Therefore, if we invest in a center back, that doesn't help us at all. I do believe having a center back that knows how to play the ball out is useful to the team in attack. I don't think a center back necessarily means 100% that they can't help in attack. And I think we saw that greatly with David Luiz and how he used to play. Like when we used to play with Luiz versus Holding, it's just two sets of different things. And so the way Luiz was able to transport the ball from back to front made everything function a little bit faster. So I think because of that, the Ben White deal, personally, I'm one of those believers that I think the deal is already done. I think the media is just milking the crap out of it, and it's going to be probably announced towards the end of the Euros whenever England gets knocked out. I kind of think back when we signed Lucas Torreira, and throughout the whole World Cup, we kept on saying this team's coming after for Lucas. He's not signed for Arsenal yet. You know, they came up with some random reports saying that somebody had paid more than the release clause to get Lucas. And then at the end of the tournament, you know, Uruguay gets knocked out, and Lucas was like, no, it was all settled before the tournament. You know, so at this point, this whole Everton make the last minute, Manchester City, now Chelsea. I think Arsenal. I'm not an ITK, but I'm willing to say that this deal is all but done. So, I personally understand that everybody's stressing out on the fact that he's a center back and he's not a midfielder. I simply look at it like this: the transfer window is not over, and so I personally, as things stand, I don't want to overreact. Because
I completely 100% agree with you, Mike, on everything you said. I'm not even joking when I say just yesterday I counted 3 in the people I follow on YouTube show titles. What the F is going on with Arsenal and the transfer window? But they have done, the only thing I can say to you, maybe in rebuttal or add to what you were saying, is they have done nothing to instill confidence in me that they're going to get anything besides Ben White. And that's frustrating. That's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Why is that frustrating, though, to you, Glenn?
Well, it's frustrating. Go ahead, Glenn. He was asking you.
No,
Both of you. I'll ask both of you why it's frustrating. It's fine.
Mike.
So, well, it's frustrating because we're so emotionally attached to the club. And we want them to do well. And we've had various summers where the obvious response, like, you know, we go back to the summer where we needed a striker, you could argue, and we ended up with Peter Sech and stuff like that, and so on and so on. So there's multiple summers that fans were left wanting more. So it's extremely hard to just put that in the back burner and pretend that all that history didn't happen. So I think that's the buildup and frustration. My counter to that, and this is probably one of the more unpopular things online, is the fact that for me, I look at it as teams, and I look at like Arteta and Edu get a clean slate. And if I'm just evaluating just the work that they've done, renewing Saka, renewing Holding, renewing Tierney, Smith Rowe seems to be getting renewed fairly quickly, bringing in Partey, bringing in Gabriel. I think there's a lot more positives.
Share with the group, man. What's happening?
I don't want to interrupt. Mike was talking. Excuse me, you fucking asshole. Sorry. Argentina just won on penalties.
You have Tourette's. What the hell's wrong with you?
I'm sorry. I'm getting updates of the penalties. It's
Ryan, I'm recording it. You just ruined that for me.
Oh, go
No.
get fucked. I'm sorry.
Oh, definitely Tourette's. Oh, can I ask?
definitely Tourette's.
I was so digging
So
with
the
Mike, go to a dark alley, take a black dildo and shove up your ass and go fuck yourself. I don't want to hear this about 12-year-old kid.
Okay.
I don't need to hear that. I don't want to
For
hear
the
this
record,
right
for the people that are listening just to audio, that's not me, Mike. That's Mike. That's in the chat room.
Oh,
It's
it's Magic
Mike
Mike.
from the
It's
Goonies
Magic
pod,
Mike.
yeah.
Magic Mike.
I just real quick. I was agreeing with everything that Mike said, except I don't know what ITK means.
In the know.
In the know,
Okay.
it's a Twitter term that people, they refer to them as ITKs because they want to say, oh, this deal's all but done, and they throw like really vague messages out there to pretend like they know what the hell is going on, but realistically, they're just out for clouts and follows and likes and retweets.
Yeah.
It's really kind of sad if you think about it.
What's it mean? What's in the know?
In the know, yeah.
Oh, I thought it meant I thump kittens.
Love it.
Possible. It might mean that. We don't even know.
We don't know. It could mean that. The best part of it, Mike.
If you come across an ITK with a kitten as a profile pic, run.
Yeah. The best part of the ITKs, Mike, is when they actually they don't quote Fab Romano or Charles Watts or David Ornstein or any of those guys, but they'll tag them at the very end of the post, which makes you think, well, they got this information from them. But then you go and you scroll their timeline, there's nothing there that these guys said. And unfortunately, social media, I could say whatever I want, attribute it to you, and you can't come after me for saying I never said that. He's misquoting me. I never said that.
They would literally have to warrant a response to everybody that does that. Sorry, Stan, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead, Stan.
As we're touching on this ITK stuff, I saw someone the other day call out Fabrizio Romano, and I was pissing myself. It was basically saying that he's a fucking tapping merchant. All his information comes
hard, dude.
After someone else, but he's quick at getting it out just after someone else. And he was referring to him as a tapping merchant. And I did like that.
Tell you what, man. I mean, look, I'll say this about Fab Romano. He has his moments where he's not first. But you know what? When he's not first, he attributes who was first. He will drop the Twitter handle of whoever the reporter was that got it right and was first about it. And it'll say something like as first reported by or per so-and-so.
Right, well, then fuck it. I'm going to start tweeting stuff in the know stuff, and I'll put at the end in fucking small print as secondly reported by Fabrizio Romano.
That's what people do. That's what people do. That's what I'm saying, man. People will put something out there and then they'll tag him in it.
I can live a bronze medal. I'm on the fucking podium. That ain't nothing. That's not too shabby.
Rather be on just get on the podium, right? Just get on the podium.
Fucking right.
So
can I just say really quick with Ben White, because I said this last week, but I'm going to repeat myself again, I guess. Ben White, I think if he comes into this club, I think he's going to be one of our best defenders, if not the best defender. He checks all the boxes for Arteta. He checks all the boxes for Arsenal as a club. I'm excited. I want him in the club, and I get it, Glenn. He's not what we need right away, but if we want to, and I said this last week, so Mike, you weren't here, but I'm going to say it again. If we want to sign a James Madison, if we want to sign that big name, he's not going to be our first signing. I hate to break it to everybody. We're not going to sign James Madison as our first signing. It just won't happen. We had, and I said this again. I'm sorry, I repeated myself. I said this last week, but for Mike, I think that we went in for Basuma. We asked out Basuma, and I think Brighton was like, "Hey, we need a striker, so let's try to sell someone. Let's sell Ben White. Oh yeah, let's sell it to Arsenal because they want Basuma. We'll kind of again like a gypsy in the night. Just we'll ease him into Ben White. So I think that's what they did, and Arteta looked at footage, and I think Arteta's like, yeah, this guy's he's a great ball playing center back. He's young. He's English. 50 million, but that's fair. I think he's going to be great for us, and I'm excited for him. And it's funny, and the funny part is we talk about the Gabriel injury, and everybody went to Ben White. Like, oh, this will get Ben White. This will get Ben White's deal over the line. This will be Ben's White. And I'm shocked nobody in the chat even brought this up.
Pablo Mari's a cover for Gabriel, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about that. But the fact that everyone immediately was talking about Ben White and you guys were talking about Ben White, the first thing that I thought of wasn't even Ben White. It wasn't Pablo Mari. It was William Saliba. I was like, well, fuck. If Gabriel's injured, and I know they play different sides, but they're center backs. Could Saliba be a Rob Holding of last transfer window, where Rob Holding was all but set to go to Newcastle on a loan, and we yanked him at the last minute? Arteta was like, "No, we have injuries. I don't like this. Let's. No, you're gonna stay." Could maybe we pull Saliba and be like, I don't really like this. We're not going to give you we're not going to send you to Marseille. Not saying that he's going to Marseille, but that's where it looks like he apparently chose Marseille. Do we maybe give him a chance because Gabriel's going to be hurt? I mean, I don't know how long Gabriel's going to be out for, but to me that's the first thing that I thought about. I was like, what the fuck's going to happen with Saliba now?
Go ahead, Stan.
Do you guys remember the scenario that I floated last week when I said, what if it's a case of William Saliba goes out on loan for another year? Rob Holding's just had his contract, extended so that we can get some value off of it, and then Saliba comes back and Holding goes out. And I think over the last week, now that I see what the way that they're talking about Saliba, it's only a loan deal. We're still invested in this guy. It's making me think that maybe there's a little bit more credence in that. It doesn't sound like they're completely done with Saliba, and I'm not sure how long is this Gabriel injury? What are they saying? How long?
I haven't seen a time frame on it. I mean, just based on what I read from the doctor on Twitter, it doesn't sound serious. It sounds like it's just stay off it for a little while.
Okay.
Let the swelling go down. Let the muscle, heal itself.
I don't think there'd be any need I don't think there'd be any need to recall anyone from loan or change the plans, because I think that they'll probably be. They'll probably be covered then if it's a short-term thing. And I think the de facto guy that comes in for Gabriel when he's out or rotated or what have you is the other left-footed centre-back, which is Pablo Mari. And if you rewind that bit back really slowly, you'll just see a glorious spit come out of my mouth just then. But
I said last week on the Ben White being the first signing, as opposed to the major need, which is the number 10, the attacking midfielder, and I this is basically how I explained it. You have a priority list. You have a list of your priorities, and it's not necessarily in any particular order, but it's just okay. These are the positions we need to fill, and as the opportunity comes along to fill one, you take the opportunity. You don't say, "Well, I need the number 10, so that's the first thing I'm going to go after." If a center back is on that list and you have the opportunity to get the center back, you don't say, "Well, I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm waiting on this," because if you're betting on the come, you're never going to win.
Wait, what'd you say?
If you're betting on the come, you're never going to win. You've never heard that before? It's a craps term. So
I heard betting on cum.
Yes, I know what you heard. Jesus.
Can I just say something? Because I don't want anybody to think I'm making faces at them. I just want to explain how I feel about the transfer market, okay? To keep my mental sanity during the summer, I don't, unless the story says Arsenal sign, unless it starts with those two words, I don't read the story.
Yeah.
The media, you cannot trust the media, okay?
No,
Arsenal fans need some of the meds that my kids have, okay? Because they just need to calm down a little bit. And so, as you guys are taught, and I know speculation is fun and theories are fun, but this stuff just makes my little brain that I have melt out of my ears.
Yeah, so I agree. I completely agree, Glenn. I can't, but I do it anyway.
Let me drift away real quick. This is something interesting. It made me think of a question. So, Ian says, I hope I said that right. Ian or Ian. I apologize if I butchered it.
Ryan.
Our first three matches are Brentford away, Chelsea home, Manchester City away. Arteta is going to be under huge pressure after three matches already. Given those three matches, how much pressure is he really under after three matches? If we have three from a possible 9,
If we ran things
no, he's under no
healthy-
pressure after 3 matches. Is that what that means?
It's
No,
a 30.
zero.
It's a 38 game league. A B. Look, I like to believe I know that there's a lot to be said about the Cronkies, that they're clueless and everything. I like to believe that they understand that cities are ahead of us. I like to believe that Chelsea are ahead of us. And I know I catch a lot of flack because people are like, so you're okay losing. No, I'm not okay losing. I would love for us to beat those fucking teams. But if I'm going in with my expectations of these games, and I said, what was the first one? Brentford? Okay, my expectations, game 1, my expectation is for us to be able to win that game. My expectations versus Chelsea, they get modified. I go in there, I'm hoping for a tie. I'm hoping we catch them on a counter, and I'm hoping we don't get our ass beat. That's what I'm hoping, because there are two teams in Chelsea and City that vastly outspend us. They're way more superior in recruiting in the last 10, 15, 20 years. They've just done a better job than us, and they're established with the manager that don't have to go out and they're not looking for a spine, and they don't have multiple. Go ahead, Stan.
I just wanted to say, you're not including Manchester United, who I thought were a little bit ahead of us, and now that they got Sancho for what I thought was a very, very good price, I think they've moved even a little further ahead of us. It's threatening. And if they get Varane or Varane, however you say his name,
Varane. I'm telling you right now, and Ryan doesn't want to hear this, but they're going to give. They're going to be in contention. That team stays healthy.
Yeah, I agree.
Real good.
I don't know though. I don't think Pogba wants to be there, but that's just me. And I think they're.
I don't know that they need it.
That's fair. And I heard they're going in for Camavinga for 30 million, which is
I mean,
crazy.
That's, again,
it's great. Why aren't we going in for that? Like, why aren't we doing that? I don't.
So let's look at a few things here with this.
Can I ask that question?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Stan. I'm sorry.
Those first 3 fixtures, and it'd be very quick. And I just say that obviously it always pains me to see my team lose a game of football. But to say, will he be under pressure after those first 3 games? If I was the owners, I'll be intelligent to know that in games of football, losses do happen. For me, it's always about the manner of the loss. If I see the team, if I see everybody out there giving 100%, and we lose, and we're playing against a team that we know are better than us, and it's a small gap, and everybody tried hard, and everybody comes off the end of the game with a bit of grass on their fucking shorts. I get that, because you can't win every game. It's never going to be an invincible every year. But if we lose a game and everybody's just like ambling around, and defenders are fucking kicking a ball into their own net, or we've got a goalkeeper throwing the ball into his own net, then that's unacceptable. Things like that. You should be able to fucking get that sorted out, and Mikel Arteta should be able to have that sorted out by now. So for me, it's always about the manner of the loss, not if we lose or win.
And let's look, perspective, right? I'm big on perspective. We're talking about Chelsea, the defending Champions League winners, and City, the defending Premier League winners. I mean, again, perspective.
Yeah.
We can get into like Mike was saying, how far ahead they are in terms of recruitment and spending, and just as well established as the squad itself is with both of those clubs. But and yeah, it all ties in. It all ties into, again, Champions League winners, Premier League winners. It is what it is. Let me ask one question. Obviously, 9 points is the goal.
Didn't answer the first question, but okay.
What was the first question?
All right.
Do I think he'll be under pressure after the first? He shouldn't be. I'll put it that way. If I'm ownership and I look at those first 3 matches, I'm saying to myself, okay, you're working with, hopefully, maybe roughly half a new squad, 4 or 5 new players in your starting 11. That's going to take a little while for everything to mesh together. The players individually, as we say, should bed in quickly. They're professional footballers. This is professional football. It's not like you come to England and the ball's a different shape, or all of it, like you can use your hands or something. I don't know, but the system as a whole and the players meshing with one another and developing that chemistry will take a little bit of time. He shouldn't be under pressure after the first 3 matches.
I've gone through the 5 stages of grief about Arteta already, and I'm at acceptance. Although I don't think he can do the job, I'd like to be wrong. And I just, for anybody that's like me that doesn't think he's the right manager, get it into your head and accept the fact this is Arsenal. He's not going to be in trouble after 3 games unless he's manager of Chelsea.
And I don't, and I don't think along those lines. I mean, I don't think he should be really under any circumstances. Take last year out of the equation. I don't think he should be under pressure regardless. After 3 matches, if he's here, he's here, and you've got to give him some time. 3 matches isn't time, especially when I think when we look at this, when we look at the team that we're hoping take the field at Brentford on August 13th, Friday the 13th, by the way, for those of you who might be a little superstitious like myself, we're talking 4 to 5 new players in the starting 11, are we not? If that's what we're hoping to see overall. And that's, like I said, that's half your team practically. So again, there's going to be, it's going to take time for the chemistry to come together with these guys. Obviously 9 points would be ideal. Win all 3 games. Probably not realistic. So what is the realistic? I mean, I think the realistic point total is either 4 or 6. So win at Brentford, and it's a win or a draw against Chelsea. If we only get 3, how are you feeling, Mike, if we only beat Brentford or, God forbid, lose all 3 games?
I'd be disappointed we'd lose all three games. It just kind of goes back to kind of expectations of what we think the teams can do against other teams and where you see Arsenal in the ladder of success, so to say. So I would bite your hand off if you tell me, like, hey, Mike, we'll finish that with 5 points. Meaning that we're going to tie 2 of them and win of them.
Wow. I mean,
I'll bite your freaking hand off. But look, realistically, I think 4 points, it's a little bit more reasonable to think about. But yeah, because we're going to be at home for the Chelsea game, and we could sure up, and hopefully we're going to have a crowd behind us. So that's going to be just extra motivation for us. And I got to say, I totally agree with what Stan says. The manner in which we play is a big factor, because obviously it leaves you demoralized when a team just sweeps you under the rug. But like, I just think Manchester City is capable of doing that to any team. So that's kind of why when I go into these games, I sit back, I shit myself in my couch looking and just pray for a counterattack. That's what I do. Like when we beat them in the FA Cup semifinal, I scared the shit out of my wife, because there I am. I'm shitting bricks because I'm arriving from home and I'm watching on my phone, right? So it's not even on TV. And then the second goal happens. That's your dog sleeping. So the second goal happens, and it just happened out of nowhere. It was a counterattack. And I'm sitting in the couch, and I go, oh my god! And my wife's like, what happened? I go, we scored, we fucking scored! Like I'm just like giddy, just fucking like losing my shit, because that's what you fucking hope for, right? Like against a big juggernaut like City, you just lose your shit when that happens. So, 4 points would be magnificent. But as far as pressure goes, I would like to believe that. Look, when it comes to a big, massive club / business, business model is what it is, right? It is what it is. It's a club, but it's a business. This short-term thinking, this knee-jerk reaction to it, like we lose a game, holy shit, we lost 3-0, ban the manager, sell the player. It's not healthy. It's not how things should function in life. Things should be able to play out. And again, on the whole league perception, it's a 38 game league, man. Last season it was a disappointing season, but I never thought, when like game day 12 or 14, whatever it was, and we were like in 14th place, and everybody was like, for fuck's sake, we're 14, fire him. We weren't as bad as 14 in the longevity of the league is my only point. I understand that we had a rough patch, but the league is 38 games. So that's where I'm going to throw this. I'm going to go way back, because I absolutely love this comment that I saw, and I can't highlight them myself, but it was from Raul M. While we were talking about Romano, and Stan mentioned that Chris Wheatley called him a tap-in merch.
No, it wasn't Chris Wheatley, it was someone else. It was someone else.
Oh no, it wasn't Chris. I thought it was Chris Wheatley.
someone else.
But
Oh no,
so
it's Fabrizio Romano. That's who he was talking about.
Yeah. So the tweet reads, Romano moves like Filippo Inzaghi. And if you watch Italian football and you know who Filippo Inzaghi was and is, and that man lived as Alex Ferguson once said, that man was born offside. So if you know anything about Filippo Inzaghi, that is a world-class fucking comment right there. So
here's the thing about those first three fixtures. The first team is what, Barnet, you said, the one that's coming up.
Brentford.
Sorry. It would be, couldn't you envisage though a scenario where we lose to them, right? A team that's just come up. We get a draw against Chelsea and then we beat City. It would that is like
everything just totally flips.
That are the results that we're capable of.
Unless we get some midfield help, it's going to be like last year where we could lose any frigging game. You know, that you said, oh, what if we lost to Barnet? Yeah, well, if Ben White's our big signing, yeah, we have a chance to lose to them, sure. You know, it's just the unpredictableness of this team. Remember when we were all hanging on for a top 6 run towards the end of the season, and we had an easy run of games, and like we didn't win any of them. The one that sticks out to me most is Fulham 1-1 at home. But you know, and we couldn't do it then. So I think this question needs to be asked after the transfer window. BG.
Yeah. No, I saw, like I said, I saw a comment there, and it just kind of popped into my head. I want to shift gears a little bit away from Arsenal to a degree, and I just want to get your guys' thoughts. We got about 15 minutes here, fellas. We're at an hour and 45. And try to knock off right around the 2-hour mark. But Patrick Vieira, Arsenal legend, going to Crystal Palace, and Glenn, I'll start with you. Crystal Palace now your second favorite Premier League team?
I'm rooting for him. He's the only guy that got me to watch some MLS when he was the manager in there. And you know, I wish him all the best. He has damn fine potential, and yeah, they'll go up in my pecking order. You know, for non-Arsenal games that I watch, sure.
Ryan, you're muted.
I mean, can we talk about Kasper Schmeichel and Leicester City?
Oh my God!
Sorry, you teed me up. I couldn't help it. You teed me up.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm happy he got a Premier League job. I'm a little surprised he got such a big upgrade in his position. But you know, they made a big signing. That it's not official, but they're about to sign Michael Elise from Reading. I think he's a fucking fantastic midfielder. He's a young guy. They have a lot of young talent there. They're slowly amassing an army, which is funny that I brought up Kasper Schmeichel because I think Zaha would be great at Leicester City, but that's not the point. But I think Crystal Palace is slowly becoming like a very young and hungry team, and I think if Vieira puts his pieces right, I think they're gonna make their mark on the Premier League. I'm not saying they're gonna finish, you know, top, you know, in the Europa League tournament places, but I think they're going to be a bigger problem than people expect. I'm excited, you know. I don't know if they're my second team, you know, but again, like Glenn said, they're definitely moving up there, and I'm excited to see what he could do because who knows if this Arteta thing doesn't work out. From one formal Arsenal player to an Arsenal legend. I'm just saying, let's see.
No more managers with training wheels for me, as much as I love Vieira.
Yeah, but if Vieira succeeds at Crystal Palace, what if we hire him? What kind of that's not training wheels? He had Premier League experience. Arteta has none. He won a title with Man City, but he was an assistant. So like, and people can talk, and I'm included in that. You know, I think he did a lot more than people think for Man City in winning them a title. But Vieira is the guy at Crystal Palace. If he can do wonders.
I don't know why you have to yell at me. It would be very romantic if he was the Arsenal manager. I just said, you know, I would rather have a more experienced
I'm not yelling.
You act like I went through the screen and slapped you like I wish I could.
I wish you would. I wish you would.
Patrick Vieira at Crystal Palace.
You said Stan, right?
No, I said you. Go ahead. I'm purposely bringing Stan in last on this.
Okay. I hope he succeeds. I know he had a bad time in France. I know he apparently he did a good job here in MLS. I didn't really follow much of his Manchester City team, but so I wish him the best of luck for 36 games is what I could tell you, and I hope we completely demolish them the 2 times we play, because I want us to win every game possible. As far as the potential idea of him managing Arsenal at one point in time, I want absolutely 0 players that are considered a legend at the Arsenal. I don't want any emotional strings at all. And if that leads, your next question is, do I not think Arteta is an Arsenal manager? Because I know some people mentioned the FAs. No, I think he was a great servant for the club. I think he was a great player, and he was well-mannered and well-respected, but I don't consider him a legend. So I just don't want that. Every time a legend comes back to a club, it's very, very difficult to shit can him when you have to, because the fans are going to be like, but he's a legend, don't disrespect him. And more often than not, it does not work out. So I hope he has a great career, but I don't want to see him come to the Arsenal at any point in time. It just gives me the willy-nillies, man.
I don't want
like
the idea status to be ruined. I don't
like. It's very rare. Like Milan tried it with like Seedorf, failed. Gattuso failed. Madrid had Zidane, and Zidane had great success, but he kind of chose to leave on his own. So it's rare and far in between when a legend could come back to a club and be successful. So yeah, I love the man. I always stand by this, that he's probably one of the best midfielders in the English Premier League that I've ever seen, or in the world. I hold him in very, very high regards. I do not want him managing Arsenal. I can't take it. I can't, it's too close to home for me, man.
So Stan, the reason that I wanted to come to you last, I mean, Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace, that's you practically grew up there. Selhurst Park may as well, you may as well have been playing pickup games there when you were a kid, yeah?
Other than the derby games and the games we play against the big teams, there are 2 fixtures that always pique my interest. One is when we play Newcastle, obviously for family ties, many years ago playing for Newcastle. The other one is Crystal Palace, because you're quite right. Well, I grew up in South London. My 2 nearest football clubs to where I lived was Millwall and Crystal Palace. So my dad started taking me to football games in the sort of mid to late 80s. Obviously, because you get bashed up if you go down to Millwall, he would take me to Crystal Palace. The first fixture that he took me to was Crystal Palace Newcastle, obviously to try and get me into the family team being Newcastle. But he fucked up because, being my first ever football match, it all standing, hairy-ass men with rattles and shouting. I didn't like it. I wanted to go home to mummy. And when he took me home, because my mum and dad were split up, and he took me home, and I was asked if I had a nice time, and I looked up at my mum and dad, and not wanting to hurt his feelings, I was like, yeah. And he was great, because we're going again next week. And the following week, it was Crystal Palace Arsenal. So it's always been one of my favourite fixtures. And, during that match, I actually, watched what was going on and got more involved and came away being an Arsenal supporter. So also being a big Patrick Vieira fan, I'm really interested in this move, because Patrick Vieira has been mooted in the past as being a potential Arsenal manager. But, let's have it right. His managerial career thus far isn't anything to write home about. In America, in the MLS, which is, let's be fair, it's not one of the strongest leagues, and has had some problems in France. What I'm really interested in is that we're now going to be able to see him managing a team almost week in, week out. And you know what? If it manages to click, and he's now, he's moved around a few clubs, he's still learning. Maybe Crystal Palace could be the club where he comes into his own a bit. And I'm all for it. If he can be a success at Crystal Palace, and what I mean by that is obviously a bigger success as what Crystal Palace can be for the size of their club, then I would be all for him coming in, and maybe in some years down the road coming in as a manager, because you can't beat, for me, having one of your legends come in and manage. it's terrible when it all goes tits up and it all goes wrong, and they have to leave in the middle of the night, you know, with a blanket over them. You never know. There's a possibility that it could work. You know, Kenny Dalglish wasn't too shabby up at Liverpool. You know,
Yeah.
So for me, you know, if he can get his trade under his belt and he can show his worth, and he gets the job further down the road on merit, then I'm all for it. Not sentiment, but merit. Then I'd be all for it. And I'd also like to add, some people talking in the chat box, you know, Patrick Vieira was being mooted about as one of the trio that was going to come in with Daniel Ek. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen now. So it does raise a question that if you're someone like Daniel Ek and you've lost one of your bits of, you know, your stardust, is there a replacement? Who would you look at? And I was thinking about this the other day, and I just want to push it out there. If I'm going to look at another Arsenal legend who's got some footballing experience after football, then I would probably look at Mark Overmars. If I'm going to look at someone to be purely just an ambassador, a mouthpiece, then it would probably be Ian Wright. And if it's someone to maybe be in the middle of that, you know, doesn't have to be as flamboyant as Ian Wright, can come in and maybe do a do job with a bit of respect, who doesn't necessarily have to have coaching badges, then I would look at Martin Keown.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just, you know, as far as Vieira goes, it's one thing to be a manager. You have to deal with players. You have to deal with the front office. You have to deal with the fans. Yes, he's very accustomed to all that pressure, but now it's all on him alone as the manager. Let him get some experience before we talk about him coming here, please.
Yeah, well, and I think we'll wrap on this note with Vieira. And I'll just say that when you look at Vieira versus Arteta, is this not what we wanted from? You know, this is what we would have liked to have seen with Arteta to a degree, is go cut your teeth at a smaller club like a Crystal Palace. The expectations are lower there. And then if, you know, 2 to 3 years, now you come take the big job at Arsenal. And I think, you know, a lot of people have been screaming that, you know, Arteta just walks into the Arsenal job, but here's Patrick Vieira. And so
we kind of touched on this, BG. A few weeks ago, Stan and I were joking how Arteta is a great interview. He's a great speaker.
Oh, he says all the right things. He says all the right things.
So that's how he got this job. You know,
of course. I mean,
look,
I've
said it before, right? If Mikel Arteta was selling timeshare, I would buy 2 weeks.
You'd buy him. Yeah. I mean, he has been groomed to be able to do that side of the man. And that is a very real and important aspect of being a manager is the press conference stuff, is, you know, dealing with the media and all that. And you have to know how to say all the right things, you know, and he certainly does, because boy, when we got him in his first press conference, and I remember people were like, that's what I want my manager to sound like.
Yeah,
that's what I want him to sound like.
I was so disappointed when we hired him, but then at his press conference, he won me over. One press conference, he won me over.
Yep, and that's the thing. And now I haven't heard anything from Vieira, and I'm sure there was a press conference to introduce him, but I haven't seen it. And I might go downstairs and look that up here when we're done here. But at any rate, I definitely
can I answer that question from Lawrence Emmanuel, who asked me a question. He said,
Tony Adams,
Tony Adams as part of that Ek bid? The thing is with Tony Adams, for me, and he's obviously, you know, one of the best captains we've ever had, and he is a legend. But he's one of those that, as the years have gone on, he does talk a lot of rubbish. I hate to say that. Sometimes he does talk a little bit. You know, there was that stint that he had as a Granada manager. And if you want to go and have a great laugh, go on YouTube and put in Tony Adams Granada training session. It looks like something out of Strictly Come Dancing. As much as I love Tony Adams, no. It's a bit like Paul Gascoigne, isn't it? Paul Gascoigne, you know, great guy in the game, but you're not going to fucking employ him to be a pundit during an international tournament in the summer. It's just not gonna happen. And a very quick joke to leave you on. Speaking of pundits, one of the worst pundits in the Euros for me has to be Jermaine Jenas. How in fucking God's name does he get to have a fucking pundit job. And as I tweeted out, surely in order to be a pundit, the minimum requirement should be that you have done something of note in the game. And a funny joke I heard as well, and it went something like this. If I was washed up on a desert island with Jermaine Jenas and a big tin of ham, I'd eat Jermaine Jenas and talk to the ham.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's good. So,
I'm running out of time.
Yeah, Glenn, final word for this week.
2-0 England tomorrow. I'll give my Italy prediction after I think about it for a while.
Fair enough. Mike, thanks for joining us tonight, man. Really appreciate you coming on. Give final word time.
No, absolute pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on. And tomorrow, I think it's going to be a 1-1. We're going to go into another penalty shootout.
Oh,
wow.
Damn.
Ryan?
I would absolutely love penalties, and it's nothing against England. I guess the theme of my night is I love Kasper Schmeichel, and I really hope Denmark. It's a feel good story, and you got to figure. For me, even if England does win, I'm probably going to be rooting for England over Italy. So there's going to be a spur with a trophy, whether it's Højbjerg or Kane. So coming from Premier League background, it will happen. But I'm excited for the game. I love the Euros, and I mean it. Like it's my favorite time. Major tournaments, Euros, and the World Cup. It's so much fun. Seeing the different teams. And I won't get into the anthems like that. But yeah, I'm excited. It sucks it's coming to an end. But what I will say, kind of transitioning from my final word, was Phoenix Suns take game 1. I really hope Chris Paul wins the title. I'm excited. I do like the Bucks. So like if the Bucks do win, fuck it. It's my last word, Glenn. It's my fucking last word. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
I'm sorry. It went into a basketball discussion.
It's okay.
Take it easy, guys. Mike, it was very nice seeing you again. I hope
seeing you, Glenn.
much tonight.
He's my other hand. Anyways, but yeah, okay, Glenn, fuck you. Anyways, so if the Bucks win, that's great too. But so I'm excited. I'm excited for this finals because whoever wins, I'm excited. I do hope the England game and Denmark game is fun. I'm excited for Nkunku coming to the thing if the sources are true. I'm excited for Ben White, and I'm excited for more transfers that we're going to be getting. And I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about next week because guess what, boys and girls? We're going to be live next Tuesday.
Yeah,
we
are.
Whether these fuckers agree or not, we're going to be live.
We are going to do this again next week.
It's going to happen.
This was a bit impromptu. Stan, anything else to add?
Yeah, regarding the Euros, if we get to the finals, then as much as I've always been a little bit tepid on Gareth Southgate, you'd have to give him huge props, right? Because for an England manager, that will probably be the biggest achievement since Alf Ramsey back in 1966.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
it would be a bigger achievement than what Sir Bobby Robson done. So you'd have to give him his props. So I'm going to be having my phone on and keeping my eye on the score, but I'd really like us to get to the final. But it would be. I'd love to see that, and maybe it is coming home. Who knows?
Yeah. Like Ryan said, my final word. We will be live again next week. Same old Arsenal USA time. Same
Arsenal friendly next Tuesday. Arsenal friendly.
That's true. That's something else we'll talk about too.
Hopefully, we'll be able to find some highlights or something. And like Lauren said, there's got to be a stream of it somewhere.
Yeah, dude. Does anybody know if it's not behind closed doors? It's going to be.
Don't they usually show the friendly games on the Arsenal channel or some shit like that?
I think they do. I think they show a few of them. Yeah. So, but so we should have a lot to talk about next Tuesday. Hopefully, there's some transfer business. We'll talk about the European final. Obviously, Arsenal are taking on Hibernian in a friendly. So we'll have some things to talk about there.
Someone's saying in the chat box, "What is Hibs?"
Yeah.
Hibernian.
Doesn't what's his name? Doesn't Zach Medley and the goalie that we gave them? Don't they play for? They play for them, right? Matt Macy.
Wasn't he on loan?
I don't know. No, I think we definitely sold Matt Macy to them.
Yeah.
Zach Medley, I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
I think Zach Medley he was loaned. I think we sold him to a different club. But yeah.
Anyway.
Great. Anyways.
All right, guys, that's all we got. Everybody in the chat, thank you all very much. Obviously, big shout out to these guys, Glenn, for being here with us as well, and Darren for coming on and sharing his story of getting to see Highbury in the Emirates for the first time. Like I said, I think that's just a nice little change of pace kind of thing, and hopefully we puts a smile on everybody's face to think about those things, because the club do still bring joy to people's lives, no matter what. So, but thank you guys for joining me tonight and being a part of it. As always, love you guys to death. That's it. We'll see you next Tuesday, 9:45, 6:45, 2:45 in the AM. Good footy talk. We'll see you guys out there.